Welcome back to the Daily Mastermind. George Wright III here with your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and education. We're getting a new week started, and I hope you have already gotten off to a great start. If not, remember, it's never too late to start living that life that you want to live, that you were meant to live. So let's start you out today with the Daily Mastermind Quote of the Day. You can find this in the mobile app. If you haven't downloaded the mobile app, you can get it anywhere on Google, Apple. It's a free download, no upgrades or subscriptions. But I love this quote today from Wayne Dyer that says, "Only the insecure strive for security." Only the insecure strive for security. I've definitely seen that in my life. I've seen that in the life of other people, when people are going out of their way to, create that security for themselves. They have that scarcity mindset. So today what I want to do is I want to talk to you about something I think you can carry throughout the week with you, and that's this concept of happiness. We talk all the time. One of our prosperity pillars is I choose to be happy. But sometimes we take for granted how simple that concept is. And so what I'd like to do today is I'd like to share with you an audio from one of my mentors, Robert Stuberg. And Robert, I'll tell you what, he has a great way of keeping things simple and talking about the idea that we can create happiness in our life by really analyzing what it is we're looking for, those emotions, the perception we give of things in our life and situations like we talked about last week. But I really think he does an eloquent job of it. And so I'm going to play you an audio on that. I hope you enjoy. I hope you'll take this concept throughout the week and you'll do what you can to try to create and focus on creating happiness now, even though you might have the interest in creating and pursuing a better life or a better version of yourself. There's no reason you can't enjoy and create that happiness and peace of mind in your life right now. So I hope you enjoy. Have an amazing day, and I will talk with you more tomorrow.
Without a doubt, the cornerstone of any well-conceived destiny is happiness. It's the one thing that everyone wants, and it's available in countless forms. And yet, relatively few people would actually claim to be happy most of the time. Why is this, when anyone can have happiness in a moment just by choosing it? Believe it or not, part of the blame might rest with Thomas Jefferson, who did us all a disservice when he wrote in the Declaration of Independence that one of our inalienable rights should be the pursuit of happiness. Of course, I'd like everyone to be happy, but it's the words, "the pursuit of," that are causing trouble. Too many of us seem to take these words literally. It somehow reminds me of greyhounds in pursuit of the mechanical rabbit. We're constantly seeking, pursuing happiness out there, somewhere, anywhere, in the form of some material reward or a new gratification of the senses. It's a mindset that dictates that happiness can be derived only from sources outside of ourselves. And that mindset is nicely accommodated by a consumer marketplace where advertisers encourage the idea that happiness is for sale. Happiness is a new car, living in the right neighborhood, using the right toothpaste, or drinking the right soft drink. Ultimately, the emphasis in this marketing culture is on what we don't have. The whole point is to make us feel unhappy enough to buy a product we think will make us happy. And it works. In our quest for happiness, we seem ready to go to any length, spend any amount to get it. The problem is, like the endless pursuit of it, trying to buy happiness is an exercise in futility. It brings on a vicious cycle where the things we buy may seem glamorous and thrilling to us for a while, but soon they're tiresome and boring, and only a newer, bigger, grander version of the same thing will suffice. Here's a story from my life that reminded me where happiness ought to begin. It involves how I used to commute back and forth to work along a road that was so busy that I normally paid no attention to the scenery along the way. One day, however, probably because the traffic was slower than usual, I happened to notice a large boulder, at least 4 feet high, that had been placed as the centerpiece of a garden in front of one of the houses along the road. The boulder had a utilitarian as well as ornamental purpose. Perhaps because it was difficult to read house numbers on this fast-moving highway, the owners had prominently painted their house number on the boulder. There it was, in bright green letters over a foot high, the number 3001. I could see that there were some words printed under the numbers, but the traffic was moving again and I had to go on before I could read them. The next time I came that way, though, I made a point of slowing down long enough to read what the words under the numbers said. And that simple action became one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. There, under the number 3001, were the words, "reasons to be happy." 3001 reasons to be happy. I admit I was a little skeptical about this sentiment. It happens that I was going through a difficult time in my life just then and was feeling more than a little bit sorry for myself. The truth is, I had just about forgotten what it was like to be happy, let alone how to go about finding happiness. So my first reaction was that I might have trouble coming up with even 3 reasons to be happy, let alone 3,001. But those words got a grip on me and wouldn't let go. At the next traffic light on a lark, I decided to see how many reasons to be happy I could think of before the light turned green. To my amazement, once I got started, the reasons kept coming and coming, not only after the light turned green, but on through the remaining half hour of my commute. I doubt that I came up with 3,001, but if my trip had been any longer, I might have. I couldn't believe it. One minute, I'd been completely preoccupied with my problems, and in the next few minutes, I was overflowing with reasons I could be happy. It became a kind of uplifting game for me after that. Every time I passed that house, I looked for those words on the rock and started thinking of reasons to be happy. Never once did I run out of reasons before finishing my commute. After a while, I didn't need to be prompted by the words on the rock. I simply made this a game I played whenever I got in the car and drove anywhere. With the help of that sign on that rock, I had discovered the healing power of gratitude. And realizing how much I had to be thankful for and to be happy about gave me the impetus I needed to sort out my problems and get on with my life. I find this little game a tremendous help in keeping my outlook positive and in keeping me from losing perspective on the challenges I face. I found it interesting that I've yet to run out of reasons, and that's probably because I keep discovering new ones. The most compelling lesson I received from this experience was where to look for happiness. I had forgotten that happiness was not something that comes from the outside. You can't hunt happiness down. And yet, happiness is never far away. One of life's great secrets is that you can experience true happiness at any moment in time by simply focusing on what you already have that you're grateful for. As it's such a universal desire, it makes sense that happiness has been the focus of much study and philosophy over the years. I'm sure that the works on this topic could fill an entire library by themselves, but ironically, it's a library that would have few patrons. The secrets of lasting happiness have been known for thousands of years, but most people who are caught up in its futile pursuit would never believe that happiness is a state that they could learn to tap within themselves. One of my favorite books on the subject of happiness is called The Conquest of Happiness by the British philosopher and mathematician Bertrand Russell. Russell, of course, is regarded by many as the greatest expert in logic since Aristotle, but he's also acclaimed as an accomplished writer on non-scientific subjects and was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1950. We're in his debt for this definitive work on happiness. The Conquest of Happiness reflects Russell's view of happiness from both ends of the emotional spectrum. As a youth, he suffered both boredom and depression and claimed to have often contemplated suicide. Fortunately, Russell discovered the secrets to happiness and found that with the right outlook, each passing year could be better than the last. Russell approached the subject of happiness as a mathematician seeking a solution to an equation. He carefully studied what causes both happiness and unhappiness. Only when he was thoroughly satisfied with the validity of his findings did he record his conclusions. He then wrote, "Very largely the happiness I've achieved is due to a diminishing preoccupation with myself." Instead, he went on to say that he came to center his attention increasingly on things such as the state of the world, various branches of knowledge, and individuals for whom he felt affection. Russell concluded that we are each responsible for our own happiness and found that much unhappiness comes from what he called competitive success, in which we don't fear falling short of our goals as much as we fear failing to outdo our neighbors. We make ourselves unhappy not only trying to keep up with the Joneses, but trying to outdo them. But Russell's most important and helpful advice on finding happiness, I think, is contained in his admonitions for us to stop being preoccupied with self and to get actively involved in passions that relate to the world around oneself. What I believe he's telling us in the broadest sense is that happiness is a precious byproduct of our engaging wholeheartedly in the kinds of constructive enterprises that keep our minds off trivial problems and conflicts. Implicit in this message, I also believe, is the warning that the pursuit of happiness is counterproductive. Happiness is not a fluttering butterfly that can be trapped in a net. It's not an X on a map or a coupon hidden away in the Sunday paper. Let happiness come to you. Pursue instead the passions that fulfill you. Commit your energies to working, learning, loving, and giving your talents so others may prosper. Focus your gratitude on what you have and count your reasons for being happy. These are the powers within you that will bring happiness to you. By committing your talents to shape a better world around you, you are irrevocably deciding to be happy. It's one of the nicer forms of enlightened self-interest. The secret to being happy starts with counting the reasons you have to be happy and then getting on with your productive life. There's no need to pursue happiness because it's always with you. All you have to do is stop chasing it away and instead be thankful that you already have it. In that regard, I like the thought author John Berryoffered when he wrote, "The bird of paradise alights only upon the hand that does not grasp."